It wouldn't be a Horror Syndicate night if we weren't late. That's okay, because we've got a lot of things going on. Welcome to the Horror Syndicate Horror Movie Massacre. And this is our spoiler-filled. Yes, we are going to have spoilers, of course, for Scream 8. Sorry, Scream 8, Jesus. I'm ready for it, apparently. Spoilers ahead for Scream 7, not Scream 8. Scream 7 just came out the other day, and tonight we did the ranking last week. And this week we're going to kind of do a spoilery review. So if you have not seen Scream 7 at this point, log out, come back when you've seen it if you want to. We did all the 5-star ratings for all the Scream films last week and did our personal rankings. And I have news for you for anybody who enjoys Scream 7. I keep wanting to say Scream 8. It is currently, based on your 5-star rating, let's see, in 5th place at about 77% right now, based on our way too early ranking for our 5-skull ranking now. So very exciting stuff. By the way, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think of Scream 7. Also, go check out The Geek Syndicate. Yes, Seth and I are doing something new, and we're bringing some other friends. The Geek Syndicate is coming, and I'm going to be coming all over Seth. That's not true. He had a thumbs up. So anyway, that's what you get for making me watch The Howling 3. Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So anyway, so I asked you to give me a out of the theater ranking for the Scream franchise, and basically you just tacked Scream 7 onto the end of your ranking, as did I, really, because both of us were like, okay, and this was the same reaction. I haven't even posted it on my own personal socials yet, but I was like, yeah, this is the worst one, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
So we're 5 days or so from that. Are we in the same spot now? Now that you've had the time to sit and think about it.
Yeah, I'm still on that mindset where this is my least favorite of the series. I do have to say, and I know this is going to annoy the hell out of my good friend Josh, but I am still of the mindset that there's not really a bad film in this franchise. I think this is the worst, but it's still, I think, watchable. I'll still get it when it comes to Blu-ray to add to my collection.
Same here.
Because there's stuff in it that I do like, but the stuff that I don't like just kind of overtakes it, and that's mainly in the third act. So
yeah. And don't forget to like, please, if you're out there. I can't remember, I didn't check to see if this was on Facebook or not, because Facebook likes to fuck with us. Do not fuck with us. Okay. We're on Facebook, so Facebook's fine with me today. I think one of my biggest issues with the movie, just from the jump, is it's paced it feels really fast. I don't like that. It could have been a little bit more, like, there were things like I really liked her Tatum's friends. I wanted to know more about them. They were basically here and there and gone fast, and they made them all kind of suspect, except for Chloe. Chloe was a good girl. I liked her. She was, of course, in the 2 Ghostbusters movies. But let's talk about the opening, first of all. That's the first thing I want to talk about. We get back to the Mocker House. Okay. And for me, it's always fun to revisit the Mocker House. I like the house. It's a cool place. It's somewhere I'd like to go. And I like that they turned it into kind of a bed and breakfast. Not bed and breakfast. It's dead and breakfast. Huh? That's a movie. But they turn it into like Airbnb. That's the word. And it's got all this Ghostface memorabilia. They have a shrine for Stu, which I thought was kind of fun. The motion sensor Ghostface thing was really cool. I like that. It's a really cool idea. Weird place to have a Airbnb though. That place is massive. But I really like the opening. This was one of these days we'll have to rank the cold openings, if you will. I like this one a lot. It's up there as one of the top 5 favorites for sure. What about you? What did you think of the opening?
Yeah, I think the opening was very strong. It's one of my favorites in this franchise. Um, kind of, I'm still talking about the opening, but do kind of want to go back to something that you were talking about before. We were talking about the supporting characters, Tatum's friends.
We will. We'll get there.
Well, I know, but I just there's just a comparison I just have to bring up when talking about the opening. Those characters, Tatum's friends, were completely bland to me. Like
Hmm.
they were like the characters in Final Destination 4. Like they were just there. They're forgettable. There's nothing special about any of them.
You know
I was
why?
like,
Because
why?
they didn't do much with them.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, but it also comes down to personality too. So in the beginning, I actually really liked those two characters in the beginning. I thought they had personality to them, and they were just the opening kill. Um, but yeah, the opening scene I thought was done really well, especially the motion detector thing. I knew it was coming, but I still liked that moment. Um, yeah, and yeah, good opening scene. Probably one of my favorites in the franchise.
Yes, and I think the implications of burning the Mocker House down also could lead into some of my ideas for eight, which we're more than likely getting a Scream 8. This movie is probably going to be the highest grossing Scream film of them
Yeah.
all. Uh, I
Well,
posted.
I'm curious about that because it has a huge opening weekend,
Mhm.
but I wonder how big the second weekend drop off is going to be, considering word of mouth. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think that might be what gets people in the theater as well. It's like word of mouth, it can spread so far. I mean, this movie's already gotten $100 million. And people, if people are saying, "Oh man, that's the worst one," well, I got to see that then. If it's the worst one, well, why is it so bad? I got to see that for myself. Like I've thought that way of myself, and at the same time, there are people saying, "Oh, it's one of the best." Well, if it's one of the best, I definitely got to go see it. So I feel like the poor reviews, the poor Rotten Tomatoes could actually help, even if the second weekend drops. I mean, they only need, and it's a big hill to climb, but they only need like 74 million more to break the Scream box office record. And I say only, but that's a lot. But still,
Yeah,
even so, I think it's already outgrossed Scream 4, uh, and
yeah,
it's not far from Scream 3. Maybe I think it is. I'd have to look. I don't remember, but it's doing pretty well, and I think that's good though. Even though the movie is not my favorite. So
yeah.
let's get into Sydney. Geez, uh, well, Sydney's friends. She does have friends, but Tatum's friends. First of all, let's talk about Tatum. Uh, I liked her. I I I I like her overall. I think that she's living in her mother's shadow, you know, and I think she has a problem with that. And she knows she's not as tough as her mom, but she kind of wants to be. Which the line at the end I really did like, and a lot of people didn't. I'm Sydney fucking Prescott's daughter. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of Tatum?
Yeah, I thought she was okay. Uh, the story, the dynamic between her and Sydney was pretty good. I actually really liked that moment where, because like throughout the entire movie, like she obviously wants to know more personal details about her mom and her mom's past, and
Right.
there is actually a really great moment in the end where Sydney explains why she named her Tatum and what that means to her, and I thought that was a really good moment.
I did
Um,
too.
yeah, um, yeah, she was good. It was good acting, and the makings of a good new character uh, in the franchise. So
Agreed. I think I'd like to see more of her, to be honest.
yeah,
Uh, Next character I want to talk about, is we'll kind of talk about some of the characters first, is Gail. What do you think? She was kind of absent throughout the movie, and it made me feel like there was like almost no reason for her to be there. What did you think?
Yeah, it feels like they ran their course with this character.
Yeah.
This is this is why I say they killed the wrong character in Scream Five.
Well, yeah, that is true. Dewey Dewey shouldn't have died. And there was a missed opportunity in this movie too, which we'll
Mhm.
get to. But she just shows up out of the blue. And for anybody who hasn't seen this is a spoiler. She hits the one of the Ghostface killers, runs them down with a car and kills them.
I
And
like that scene.
did you like that?
Yeah,
I thought it was like, oh, come on, like seriously, like that. That's perfect timing, I guess. But that's kind of Gale in a nutshell.
yeah,
But yeah, and then Chad and Mindy are working with her, which I thought was kind of interesting, is the way to. I mean, first of all, obviously there's a big hole in the movie as these two didn't come back for various reasons, and I don't know. I know why Melissa Barrera didn't come back because she said some stuff on her social media and they didn't like it or something. But Jenna Ortega apparently did not come. Well, she was already not coming back anyway. People think it's because of her support for Melissa Barrera, but apparently it wasn't that. It was because she
oh,
already,
Wednesday.
yeah, Wednesday, yeah, she was already like too busy. Like she is like very much like the hot actress right now,
Yeah,
or whatever, and she has been for a while. So I get that, but whatever. Uh, Going back to Gail though, the one moment I really truly liked though with Gail is the interview with Sydney. I wish there was a little bit more to it,
hmm,
but I've been waiting. I have been waiting for that forever because Gail's been wanting to get an interview. Instead, she gets decked a couple of times by Sydney,
bam,
which I
bitch went.
love. Yeah, exactly. Bam, bitch went down. Sid, super bitch. Gotta love Tatum. But I don't know. I think I think it is time to retire the Gale Weathers character. And I mean no disrespect because I actually love Courtney Cox and I love the character of Gale. But yeah, I think it is time to retire her. If they don't and they bring her back for the next one, which they probably will, kill her. You know?
Yeah, well, she
I,
doesn't really seem as like proactive in her um, journalism or her investigations as she once was.
well, I mean, part of it is she seemed like she literally handed the torch over to Mindy in this movie to do the interview or whatever at the end of the movie.
Hmm.
So that was I think that's cool. Maybe this is it for her. I part of me does not want to see another legacy character die, but I feel like she probably does need to die. And I'm not trying to be mean about her or anything like that, but you know. So how about we keep moving and talk about uh Sydney? That's not Sydney. This is Sydney. So what do you think of Neb in this one?
Uh, yeah, Nev is good as always in this role.
I think she was great actually in this one. This one felt like her movie more than any of them, and even though they're all her movie, really, except for six.
Well, this is kind of like the real part five in a sense because
Hmm.
the actual five and six that we got, even though she was in five, she was only in there for like a supporting character thing. She wasn't the main character. This goes back to her being the lead for the first
Yeah,
time since 2011.
yeah.
Um,
Even then, I don't think she felt like the lead in the fourth movie because it was focused more around Jill.
yeah, because they were tackling the whole the remake, reboot, whatever
Mm.
um, back then. So yeah, this was good. It was good to see. Uh, one, what I mean is, I think Nev is just great across the board in all of these movies. Um, but yeah, she was really good in this. I liked this dynamic with her, where she's we're seeing Sydney as a mother. Um, seeing how, unlike Halloween 2018, um, she's got a different way of raising her kids despite, everything she's been through. Um, yeah, and I liked her. I liked her dynamic with Joel McHale too. I really liked him as her husband. Um,
Yeah, and he to me did not feel like Joel McHale.
he did
Like,
not. I was like,
right?
wait, this guy he actually seemed kind of badass in this movie.
Mhm.
It was like he was constantly getting up and fighting Ghostface.
He had no quit in him
Mm-mm.
at all, which was
And then
good.
and then Sydney's like, well, he's a fighter. Like I just really like that. So yeah.
She got a good family. One of the things, and I wrote in my article, there's my reviews on the horrorsyndicate.com. I wanted to know how they were going to address her children being gone. And then, because they never mentioned Tatum in 5, but we see her kind of jogging with a stroller with,
Yeah,
2
yeah.
seats. And I'm like, how are they going to do that? And they did, and they did a good job. They just, instead of writing them out and saying continuity error or something like that, they had them go to Denver
Yeah.
with, like, I'm guessing,
With Mark's
Mark's family, which was good
Yeah.
call.
Yep.
So a couple other characters before we really start kind of digging in to the story. The neighbor, Anna Camp. She was absent for most of the movie.
And
So,
even in the scenes that she did appear in, I don't know.
yeah,
Not a
when
character.
in the movies, in the last few movies, 3, 5, 6, and now 7, if there's a character missing for a period of time or barely there, like Amber from 5 was absent from a lot of what was going on.
Yeah.
And what's her name was killed supposedly in Scream 6, one of the killers. And then so somebody being absent for is becoming a tell to me. And it felt like I was like, well, okay, where's she been the whole movie? Then I even Helena's like, I bet she's Ghostface, and she was. And then I wonder if she killed her own son, who seemed like an
Yeah.
obvious choice for Ghostface.
Well, I mean, she mentioned it in the third act. I don't know
Did
if
she?
you-
Okay,
Yeah.
I can't remember. And then Ethan Embry, who I've always liked, is the other Ghostface, and it's like he's on the fucking poster, and he has one scene before he's revealed as Ghostface. So that was a dead giveaway. You
Yeah.
know, as soon as his scene was over and he was gone again, I'm like, I bet it was fucking Ethan Embry. Why would you bring him in for one scene?
That's what I was just gonna say. I'm like, this movie does him an injustice because we
Yeah.
know that he's a good actor. I
Mhm.
like when he pops up and stuff, but just to waste him like this, huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, I agree, and he definitely was wasted. And the one thing I thought I liked though was them talking at the end when they were revealed. By the way, these are the ghost faces. Anybody who's here, and you see the spoilers at the bottom. These are the 2 ghost faces. They're ghost faces. Anyway, um, I like the way that she kept talking. She was nuts. I thought she did a good job. I will say that at the end, playing fucking complete psycho nuts. I thought that was good, which she can do. She's done it before in a couple of things. She was in True Blood and Pitch Perfect. I've seen her kind of go a little nuts in Pitch Perfect. So I like that. But Ethan Embry, this guy should have been in the Scream movies a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was the right around the right age, and he would have made a great Stu type killer, in my opinion. We've seen him play wacky roles. We've seen him do serious roles. He's actually a really good actor. But yeah, absolutely wasted. I was disappointed by the reveal of those 2 as the killers. And it was just like, it just didn't feel deserved, if that made sense. I don't like her reasoning. They blame part of it on part 6. Her not, how can that's not a real Ghostface killing if Sydney's not there? And like, I just didn't care for her motives.
The motivations were fucking weak sauce, man. This is the weakest killer reveal and motivations in the entire series. I
Yeah,
don't
and we
want to
thought last time
bitch
was.
about part 6 anymore because
Yep.
this is way worse. I am so sick of them being like, oh, well, you know, when we had the early films, the motivations were personal, you know, mixed in a little with the petty, but there was something personal behind them. Now the last several films have been, it's like, oh well, it's a fan of the Stab franchise who has some sort of grievance against, you know, something that happened in the films or in the real life, and it's like, oh, you're upset because Sidney Prescott didn't put her life in danger to go to New York for something that had nothing to do with her. That's why you're killing all these people. Like the she like I was very curious when she first started talking about her motivation because she was saying how, you know, she was like an abused wife, and she read Sydney's book Out of Darkness, and you know Sydney was the killer of bad people, and that kind of like inspired her to kill her husband. That's a good start to a motivation, but what does that have to do with everything we saw in the film? Nothing. So the only motivation is well, Sydney wasn't in part 6, and it's just a complete horseshit thing. I'm so sick of the Stab fan grievance motivations. You can like, I get that in this franchise, right? You have like this sort of like this epidemic of sorts with this popular horror franchise that's based on uh, an epidemic of like of real life crimes happening with people using the ghost face uh, persona to kill, and so that gives people like a mask to put on. Um, you don't necessarily have to make them be fans of Stab. They don't have to be diehard fans of Stab, but they could be people aware of it, right? And they're using that to get their revenge, and their revenge should be personal. It should make sense. Why these two are targeting Tatum and killing all these people, it makes absolutely zero sense. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It it wasn't good enough, and very similar to 6. I mean, getting revenge for Richie, I get that's fine. That's okay. I get that. You know, with his dad and everything, losing his son, but like supporting him being a psycho killer is really weird. Because he was like he helped him get that collection. You know, and God, man, that was one of my favorite things about 6 is that collection of all the stuff from the earlier movies, and now it's all gone. You know. So anyway, yeah, I'm with you on that. The thing is, like, I think if they do another movie, they should make them just crazy people or somebody who idolizes serial killers or Stu. You know, like
This is what I'm saying. Yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you don't like if they do a Scream 8, I do not want the Stab films being the motivation. I want
no,
it to
that
be
that should be over.
I want it to be the inspiration. You know, like Billy says, movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. So there's someone who has a real motivation to attack a bunch of people, and they're using Ghostface as that mask. That's you know what I mean. Like that's what they should do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the Stab stuff is run its course. Uh,
When
I think I think that Ghostface could live on without those movies. So overall, let's dig into the story a little bit and talk about some of the things that really stood out. First of all, let's get into the stew of it all, because in this story, for spoilers' sake, of course, people, we have the spoiler alert there. Matthew Lillard, and this is not even a spoiler. He came back. He's in the cast list. Everybody knew he was coming back.
he's on the 30th anniversary poster.
Yeah.
Well, his name is anyway.
he's there. We know he's coming back, but how was the question? Is he back? Is he alive? Did they use AI? What do they do? Well, yes, they used fucking AI like we all expected. So Matthew Lillard was actually really played by Ethan Embry. Technically, right?
Love it. Yep.
Yeah. So it was AI. And I loved some of the things that they did because they got his mannerisms right, which is how, first of all, how did he know that Stu was like cuckoo and crazy like that? There's no fucking way. Gale Weathers didn't spend that much time with him to know he was zany and fun like that, But
dude,
I love what. Go ahead.
Did you read that article I sent you before we went live, or like
No,
a half hour
I didn't
before
even
we
see
went live?
that. No,
Kevin
I've
Williamson,
been busy since work, man.
Kevin Williamson says that they shot an alternate ending with Stu being revealed to be alive, but test audiences did not like it, so that's why they took that out.
Fuck test audiences.
Fuck test audiences, man. We could. Yep, that's all I'm gonna say.
So
But
here.
check out
So
that article when you get a chance.
I will. I just saw the text. Sorry I missed that. I was in the line at McDonald's. Anyway, so the way it sets up, Sidney gets a call after this scene right here from Ghostface, and we hear that classic iconic voice, and then there's a request, I think, to do a video chat, and it's Stu, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So he's not hiding behind the voice this time. Awesome. That's how it should be. Which I will say, the Ghostface voice was very missed in this movie. It was barely there. Yep. But I like that they were like, okay, I'm in front of your daughter's school, blah blah blah, and we get one of the coolest, in my opinion, one of the coolest kills in the entire franchise, the McKenna Grace kill, where she's swinging on a thing. I love that. And she gets fucking disemboweled, basically, kind of like Sidney's boyfriend from the first movie got gutted. How do you gut somebody?
It was a beautiful shot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that shot. I put that in my article. I had to find that image, and it was a tough one to find. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this is what I wanted for a long time was, okay, so Stu is pulling the strings. He, and then we get this great scene. I thought it was a great scene with this fucking Ethan Embry Stu guy, where he explains that the first killer from the house was friends and in that same mental place, asylum, whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. So like all that was going on, and you're like, okay, Stu is legit back. They made it seem like he was back. His records were stolen, his corner records, whatever. All that shit was stolen. So now they really played it up like he's back, which I actually have a theory about that. So towards the end of the movie, Sidney goes back to her house to confront Ghostface because they got her daughter. And she gets there, and Stu's on the TV. And then we see Nancy Loomis on the TV. Not Nancy Loomis. Is that her name? Mrs. Loomis?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they see her on the TV, which was kind of cool. And then you see Sidney's brother, what's his name? Roman, on the TV. Yep. And then Dewey, which Dewey looked like he was a fucking goth man at this point. And then, of course, back to Matthew Lillard. But it was all AI. It was not any of them. Obviously, Dewey, Mrs. Loomis, and Roman are all dead. But like the missed opportunity I was talking about with Gale was, why didn't we see the AI representation of Dewey for Gale?
100%, man. I was talking about that with my friends. That would have been powerful.
Yeah. You killed my best friend, you fucking asshole, or something like that. They said that in 5.
If he said, I died for you to her instead of Sidney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It would have changed a lot. It's like, first of all, you've got Kevin Williamson writing this. He should know better. Like, he's a good writer. How would he not do that to Gale to fuck with her? Like, what if, like, the movie could have been Gale getting calls from Dewey and then Sidney getting calls from Stu, and then
Yeah, I think if they went with a page one complete rewrite with Kevin Williamson instead of just kind of like taking Guy Busick's script and kind of doing enough changes to get a writer's credit like he did, it would have been a better film because one, two, and four are the most brilliantly written films in this franchise, like hands down.
Yeah, I know 1 and 4 are great.
Yeah, and two, you son of a bitch.
No, but yeah, no, I agree. Like they had the time. I mean, Scream 6 came out in 2023, so that's 3 years. They had plenty of time. You know, we knew for 2 years that Barrera wasn't coming back. They had plenty of time to do that. And I mean, they could have pushed this to the summer or Halloween time, you know, because the one thing I really liked about this movie is it had fall atmosphere. You know, the vibes were there for the fall. It felt like a Halloween movie at points.
There was a lot of Halloween influences in this film.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that moment in the opening scene where it's almost like a scene from Halloween where like you see like a part of a light kind of like shine on the ghost.
Oh yeah,
and then go away.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that walking scene with her friends, that's straight out of Halloween, and not just one Halloween movie. It's a number of them.
Yeah. Shit, what were you talking about before? We got
just how misused and misguided the AI stuff was in this movie.
Oh yeah. So this is what I was going to say too. Like, and I was telling this to my friends. I'm like, the groundwork that they laid to justify Stu being alive. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. It was good enough for me. Like the idea of like, you know, when they talk to Ethan Embry and he's like, oh yeah, John Doe, you know, he had severe head trauma, couldn't remember who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he was just really like the medical records, you know, the autopsy report, whatever, were going missing. They laid enough groundwork where I was like, okay, just on those simple things alone, I can buy it. Someone who is perfectly fine with Jason Voorhees being resurrected by lightning, I'd be totally fine with this. At this point, I liked the idea of Stu being alive, video calling Sydney to taunt her and all that, being at these scenes, but still being out there somewhere, not knowing where he is, and orchestrating this whole Ghostface thing. It's a huge opportunity that they didn't go with that because fucking test audiences said, no, we think that Stu is better off dead.
Stu's been pulling the strings the whole time. We'll find out in Scream 8. Yeah, because I feel like even if the killers didn't reveal themselves, like even if they didn't say, well, Stu has been part of the motivation, I think they'll kind of retcon that into Scream 8 and they'll bring Matthew Lillard back, because when people find that shit out, they're going to go ape shit. They're going to go ballistic because there's a ton of people want Stu back. Test audiences be damned. And
they've been ruining horror films for years.
They've been ruining films for years.
Yeah.
Not just horror movies. But because this movie, like, it had some great stuff. Like the whole scene with the Ghostface coming out of the attic, which still didn't make sense because they swept the house, unless they didn't look in the attic. But Ghostface coming out of the attic and you know, that was excellent, right? Yeah, I really like that. And I love how smart Neve Campbell or Sydney was to bend the knife in the wall. I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yep.
And the thing is, the scene in going back to the coffee house with her, you see the killer. There's a guy that Sydney looks at, and it's like, why would she look at that random guy if it wasn't that there was too many giveaways in this movie? For like, okay, that guy's suspicious. He's got to be up to something, you know.
He reminded me of that like hobo guy from Hellraiser who just kind of like randomly appeared.
Yeah. Right. But like, I don't know. I think there's in some ways the first 2/3 of the movie was good, solid.
Yep.
But part of it was a mess. You know, like the Chad and Mindy and Gail of it all probably didn't need to be there. You know, I like those two characters, Mindy and Chad, a lot, but I don't think they needed to be there because they're too tied to Melissa Barrera, Samantha, and whatever her sister's name is,
Tara.
Tara. Yeah, they're too tied to them, in my opinion. Which that changed now. So I think going into the third act, and we know that the two killers, who they are, and they weren't great. The reveal wasn't great. I do think Anna Camp was a good nuts. You know, she did a good job being nuts, but I don't think at all would she have been a match for Sydney ever in no lifetime. Sydney's been through this 5 times. Come on. She's been shot, she's been stabbed, she almost died. Come on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she would have been able to lift her son up and kill him the way that she did.
What else about the movie what other kind of points do you want to talk about?
Well, I think I've, between the two of us, I think everything I want to talk about was kind of hit on. So it's like great opening scene. First 2/3 of the movie, I'm like, okay, I'm in this. Like let's see where it takes us. And then it just gets to a really rushed third act, and with motivations that aren't logical, they don't make sense. They're just downright stupid. They're just beating the whole stab fan thing to death, and it makes me feel like, like the I'm sure you're going to ask this, I guess, so I'll save my answer. But I have something to say when it comes to the should we get a Scream 8? Where it's like, if this is just what they're going to do, then no.
I want to see the boyfriend be the killer again. Make it that obvious, but not that obvious. I was kind of hoping he was one of the killers, and he wasn't. Because they were trying to lean into him being one of the killers because he knows how to do the AI stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to go back to basics, kind of, where the boyfriend's the killer. But at the same time, okay, here.
Not a bad question, Bert.
So, should there be a Scream 8? When I walked out of the movie theater, the kids asked me, because I took my kids with me. My son's 16, my daughter is 12, and they love the Scream franchise. Reynolds told me this is his favorite horror film franchise. Evil Dead would be number 2. Good taste, in my opinion. I said, I think this movie made me feel like it's time to put the Scream franchise to rest. Is that kind of where you are?
I'm at a point where if they do make a Scream 8, I'm gonna go see it. I'm sure I'll be excited like a little fanboy that I am. Just in the way that I was for Scream 7 coming out, taking the day off, watching the other films with friends, all that other stuff. But as I was just kind of saying, like, if all they're gonna do for a Scream 8 is just continue on with, oh, I'm a fan of the Stab franchise and I'm mad about this or this, I don't want to see it. Just if you're not going to put effort into the motivations, and this is why I'm shocked that Kevin Williamson co-wrote this film. At least he did enough to get a writer's credit on it. The motivations, they used to have a little bit of meat on their bone. The motivations in this did not, and over the last couple films, they're just, I don't know, retreading the same ground. Like,
yeah,
what was it? It was clever for Scream 4 with what they were trying to tackle with like remakes and reboots and Jill's whole plan. I thought that was very clever. But when you get into the killers in 5, killers who get killed in the beginning of 6, and then in this, where it's just these are people who are just obsessed with the franchise, and
Yeah, and so yeah, no, exactly. So for me, I would definitely go see Scream 8. The only
Yeah.
one I have not seen in the theater, well, 1 and 4 were the only two that I hadn't seen in the theater, which are my favorite two. I saw 2 in the theater. I was stoked, loved it when I saw it. I still like it. I just like to give you shit about it. I saw 3. I saw 3 in the theater, loved it. I had so many things going through my head after walking out of 3, and 5 and 6, of course, and now 7. I saw in the theater 6, 7. Sorry. I love this franchise, and I'll absolutely go see 8. But as I told you before we started, I think if we do, so 6 ended perfectly. It could have ended the whole franchise, in my opinion. But of course, it made a lot of money, so no, we got to make more, and that's fine. But the problem is, I think there's a lot of problems here. Melissa Barrera did not come back, and she was becoming the cornerstone of the franchise. So what I think with 8, I do think we need to try to get her back somehow. I don't know if that's possible, but the core 4 I think should be in the 8th movie. But I also think Tatum should be in the movie, is in a larger role. I think it's time to start putting the dinosaurs to rest. You know, they're not dinosaurs. I mean, they're barely older than me, but trying to put these guys to rest and bring back my favorite character of the franchise. I think Kirby. I love her. I want to see her come back too. But there's the thing, like, if I did a Scream 8, what I would do is I would absolutely fucking say fuck them and have Stu be the mastermind. And he's been pulling the strings for a lot longer than we thought. That's what I think should happen. I think Stu could go back and say, I was there with Roman. Because Roman did not do that shit by himself. He did not do all that by himself. There's no way he could have done that.
Nope. And you could easily explain why he didn't go into help in the third act with, well, he overheard Roman tell Sydney about how he told Billy to get him just to be the fall guy.
Yeah, he could have gotten pissed. Yep. Plus Angelina, she was a part of it too. Yep. Stu, the only one I could say Stu was definitely not a part of would be 2 and 4. I'd say Stu had nothing to do with those. But 5, 6, and 7, he could have been the mastermind of all this. And I know that a lot of people won't like this, but a lot of people would like it. It makes sense. But have Stu recruit some kid like Billy recruited him that, Tatum falls in love with, and somehow it has to do with these two, and wrap it all up and be done with this part of Scream forever. No more Sydney after this. No more Gale. Kill Gale off maybe, and wrap it up. I think the one recurring character that could come back is this beautiful woman right here.
Well, yeah, she's an FBI agent.
She's an FBI agent. She could be the one string that could hold the entire franchise together from here forward. Because I think if we go into Scream 9, I don't want to see Sydney. No offense. I love Sydney. I love Gale. But I think they kill off Stu once and for all. And this puts an end to all of the Sydney stuff. No more core 4, no more Sydney, none of them move on past Scream 8. If we go into a Scream 9, then we're going to talk about copycat killers, and we're going to see Ghostface because that costume's still widely available apparently. I think that's my idea for what they should do moving forward. Scream 9, new Ghostface, new town, nothing to do with them. They bring Kirby in as a special thing. Maybe that's the closest. That's it. That's it.
I think Kirby could work as a reoccurring character who is specifically
not central, not a central character.
No, but she could be a reoccurring character who is essentially brought in because she's on some sort of task force because of this epidemic of people killing people disguised as Ghostface. But we talked about this before, where it's like the idea of Scream, it can go as long as it wants. You can have films set in different places with different characters, and again, it's someone using the Ghostface persona because they know of Stab. It's not
Yeah.
because of Stab, but it's
Right.
because, hey, I want to kill these people here. What's my best way of doing it? Oh, I'll make it look like a Ghostface killing.
Yep. Copycat killer.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a personal motivation in there. I just got to put that
I want to
out.
kill this bitch. What's the best way to do it? I'll put a fucking Ghostface costume on.
Yeah. Or it's like, a character's like, hey, I'm 5'5" and I want to be taller, so I'll just put a ghost face costume on and I will be 6 foot tall.
Yeah. And I'll become stronger and be able to take down a
Yes.
former police officer.
Exactly.
But I think they could do a lot of stuff there. And I watched the first season of the Scream show, which a lot of people don't like. It's not great, but I consider that part of the world. I think that's when I came up with the idea of a Ghostface copycat. Was watching that show and I told my wife, because she was still with us at the time, that I think that this would be great if they stop making the Sidney Prescott movies. And I told her if there is ever Scream 5, maybe they could just say it was a copycat and still use the iconic look, the knife, all that stuff. There's plenty of ways to find motives outside of the movies, outside of Sidney Prescott. Plenty.
Well, exactly. And I think to the show's credit,
did you watch the show?
I watched like some of it. Like I started it. I know more about it than I've actually seen because I've read stuff about it. But like to the show's credit, they attempted to have their own individual story, like I'm talking about, with different characters.
Yeah.
I just wish that they were able to use the actual Ghostface costume, because that mask that they had in the first 2 seasons was not.
But they made it make sense. So it's not.
I know, but like if it was the traditional Ghostface, I think it would have worked better.
Yeah, and I actually plan on rewatching it because I didn't watch the last 2 seasons. The show's not terrible. It's not great. It's very polished. You know what I mean? Like everybody's pretty and everything like that. Everybody's pretty in the Scream movies anyway, for the most part. But it's very MTV, which is who produced it or distributed or whatever they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of room to work within the mythology. And honestly, if you really, really got desperate, you could bring Sidney back as a the expert on Ghostface killings. And I don't want to hear this time it's different, and it's never different. Because it's not. It's never different. Make it different by making it other people that have nothing to do. And I get that, well, Sidney is going to put butts in seats. Okay, cool. But I honestly think Ghostface puts butts in seats. Sidney was not in 6. Let's not forget. 6 made a lot of money. And I realize it's a sequel left off from 5. But I still think Ghostface is the draw. That voice is the draw. It's a horror movie. People love slashers. I think slasher movies probably the most popular subgenre in horror. Now, maybe I think it's more popular than zombie movies, but people are going to see the next Ghostface, especially if you market it the right way. There's a lot to marketing. Like this movie looks badass.
I don't say it very often, but I think at this point, just let these characters have happy endings.
I agree. I mean, yeah, it's weird, but Gail's the only one. Courtney Cox is the only one who's been in all of them. Also, she's in her 60s. Let her rest. She obviously needs to rest. If she's in the next one, make it a small part. Don't kill her, maybe. But I think the next movie should be the end of the Prescott era of Scream, the end of the Carpenter era, because obviously there are issues. What if oh, here I just got a weird idea. What if Scream 8 started with the cold opening of killing off Samantha because it's Billy's daughter and it's Stu, and we just get the reveal. It's like at the beginning of Scream 6, that dude that takes his mask off at the beginning. That was cool. I was like, oh, cool. We get to see one of the killers right away, even though he technically wasn't one of the killers. Technically, he was. But like, what if that happened and Stu takes his mask off for the reveal, and we're like, oh shit, here we go.
Okay, so if we are to go with the Stu being alive thing, which, hey, by the way, they could do like what Halloween Kills did, put out like an extended cut where they tack on that ending
Oh,
that
yeah.
they took out.
I watched the whole credits hoping there was a fucking end of credits scene like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Miss me? Something like that, you know?
Yeah. So if they do that and Stu is the killer, it would make sense for him to target Sam, right? Especially with if he wasn't there with Roman for part 3, but he could have learned it from the Stab franchise itself, the idea that Roman specifically told Billy to choose a partner to sell out. So it'd be kind of like a cool little revenge against Sam for, Billy kind of fucking him over, revenge against Sydney because he's always had a thing for whatever.
I always had a thing for you, Sid.
Yeah. But so that's why, like, I'm kind of a little bit of against Sam being the opening kill. I think there should be more to it if it is the case.
Well, the reason I mentioned that is what if they can only get her back for a small part? You know what I mean? Like, if she's so put off by them, but they need to have her back, give her whatever money she needs, and then do that. That's just an idea of if they can only get her back for a small part.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. I love the Scream franchise. I'm sad that this one falls at number 7 of 7. I kind of like, I didn't have an idea of like, oh, this might break the top 3 or something like that going in. But I don't know, these last 3 movies. So I watched all of them again last week, and I watched 5 after our show the other night, last Tuesday, and I like 5 more than I thought. There's a lot of fun stuff to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with 6. When I watched 6, I was like, okay, I kind of was hard on this one when I was talking about it the other day. Not like terribly hard, but there's a lot of good stuff in 6. Like that ladder scene is so intense and so good, you know.
So judgment.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And I love that. That was so good, you know. And I liked that, you know, Samantha had that hot guy boyfriend thing going on, and it turns out he's just a really good dude, you know.
Yeah.
I love that for her. You know, it's like Derek was just a really good dude, but we thought he could have been the killer because he was supposed to be one of the killers. But you know, I like these last few movies. It's just, and I was enjoying Scream 7. I think the breakneck speed of the pacing of the movie was an issue for me. I wanted to get her to know her friends a little bit more with McKenna Grace, especially, even though I think her kill was the highlight. But yeah, I think the ending reveal is what really kind of like, oh, come on. Ugh.
Well, Scream 6 and 7 have this in common with me. I enjoy the first 2 acts, and then they completely let me down with the 3rd act. I just think, I was going to say the R word. I have that habit. As dumb as the motivations were in 6, I think the motivations in 7 were just worse.
Yeah.
But
so
both movies have stuff I really like about them. You know.
Mm-hmm. The ghost face is Roger Jackson's that name. That his voice was very missed in 6 or 7. I will say. Let me ask you a question. What?
Well, because I was going to say this because that was something I thought about too the other night because one of my friends who went on Thursday is sort of like this casual fan. Like he wasn't he didn't grow up with horror, and so I've been like, ever since high school, kind of like, showing him stuff here and there.
Mhm.
He liked Scream 7, but he hasn't seen all the films. And so Saturday night, he came over with the other guys, and I showed him Scream 4. And my God, Scream 4, I think, has the best Ghostface conversations ever. Like the Roger Jackson voice and the things that he says is just so awesome in that film.
Mhm.
Just wanted to mention that.
No, you're right, and that's a big part of it. From the opening with Marnie,
Yeah.
here's the dumb blonde with big tits.
Yep.
And she talks about her GPA or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, and that's probably mostly Charlie too, the film nerd. You know, I'm not a big fan of Charlie, but I absolutely adore Jill in Scream 4. I think she's fantastic. What a great movie! What a great motive too. But now the question for you: should we just let this franchise go? Yes or no?
No.
Seth says no. So we're
Well,
not going to let it rest.
no. Like I want the legacy characters to rest. Again, it's not like me to say this, but just let Sydney and Gail have their happy endings. But listen, you and I and a lot of other horror fans are fans of franchises that have been milked to death, have been beaten like a dead horse, and we will still get excited and go see them every time. They put out a new Halloween movie, we'll be there. You put out a new Friday 13th, we'll be there. Uh, even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I got excited when the new one came out. You know what I mean? A couple years ago. So, like, huh?
I want to do next week. We're revisiting that, and we're going to talk about it because I've been wanting to watch that again.
Oh, the TCM from
the 2022 movie, yeah, on Netflix. Because I recently did the 5 skull ranking for the Horror Syndicate, and I was thinking, I was like, I have not watched that since it came out, and I'm like, Reynolds is like, well, we should watch it, and I was like, okay, let's do that. And you saying that, I'm like, ooh, let's talk about it. Because after that movie came out, I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, this franchise needs to rest.
Well, the thing about that movie too is like it was like I watched it a couple other times after, like with different people, and every time I watched it, I liked it a little bit more.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't think I don't know. I have to watch it again. I know I have issues with it, but I don't think I hated it. Like a lot of people hated it, but I don't think I had that big of an issue with it when it first launched on Netflix. I know we did a big roundtable because Keith, Nate, you, me, Jared, and Vince Tasani from Never Hike Alone all talked about it, and I think he has a problem with everything though. If he didn't make it, it's no good. But I like Vince. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I thought it was okay. I don't remember like my initial thoughts. I could go back and watch that episode, but like we've been talking about redoing things for the Horror Syndicate writing and stuff, and I was like thinking about going through and writing reviews for some of these movies that we did not write reviews for the last 5 years, because I mean, I hate to say we've neglected the website with doing all these shows, because after 2020, I mean, we've done some articles here and there, but when 2020, COVID and all that, we doubled down on doing Discourse shows 2 a week, and then after that kind of fizzled a little bit, we were doing Discourse and this, and then when Discourse started to fizzle, we were doing this, and then you were doing the Werewolf Weekly, which is still happening. So like we have kind of cast the website aside, and I kind of want to get back to it. When I wrote my article for Scream 7 on the horrorsyndicate.com, go check it out. I felt that feeling again, how good it feels to write articles. And so I'm thinking about things that maybe we neglected over the past few years. I haven't gotten to voice my opinion on movies like The Substance. I love that movie. So yeah, what were you going to say?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily neglect, as it was like, because remember, like we were doing all the shows, but I was constantly writing, you were constantly writing, like
It was more after 2023 with the crash of GoDaddy giving me all the problems.
yeah,
Yeah, it was mostly that.
when the website like
Yeah.
just started like fucking up, like it killed my spirit, so to speak, to the point where I was like, I gave up. But I definitely want to get back to it.
I do too. It's I don't consider myself a great reviewer or writer because I kind of have scramble brain thoughts and just throw them down on the page. And I was doing like 3 or 4 paragraphs on Facebook, and that's what I started doing Saturday. It was like, I'm gonna write my quick little scream review on Facebook, and I wrote that, and I was like, I look over at my laptop, I'm like, no, I'm gonna write a real review. So I wrote a real review, and I put that little, couple paragraph thing that I put up on Facebook. It's on there, and it was not spoilery. So it kind of got me wanting to do it more and more. And I was looking through looking for some of the reviews that maybe, because Jackson, he's been writing some of the newer, like he did one for Send Help, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
yeah, he did a review for that, and Ron's done a bunch of different stuff. And that was what we were doing. The whole point was to build the social media to get people to go to the website. And now we are closing in on 95,000 followers. Thank you very much to everyone who follows the Horror Syndicate on Facebook and our 2,160 some odd followers or subscribers on Facebook or YouTube. We do appreciate everybody. But yeah, getting back to writing, starting the Geek Syndicate and kind of going back and forth when we get that going will be fun. Writing, I got to do a horror article. Okay, let me do a Superman review or whatever, Supergirl review, the things like that, because definitely the website will be up before Supergirl comes out and Avengers and all that stuff. Because Seth and I, we love horror, but like we also love other movies. Seth was talking about what was this? A simple. What was it called? Not Blood Simple.
A Simple Plan.
A Simple Plan. Yeah, it was, this. Yeah, and for instance, Sam Raimi is a great director for horror, but he also made 3 Spider-Man movies, and for the most part, I like all 3 of them. He did a Doctor Strange movie, and he did other movies. It's like there's a lot out there that we'd like to talk about, and we can't really do that on the Horror Syndicate. If I posted a review of the Batman from 2022, nobody's going to go to the Horror Syndicate and read it. Nobody.
It's kind of funny though, because that film has a very horror vibe for the first half of the film.
I would argue Batman and Batman Returns and The Batman have kind of a horror vibe to them.
Yeah.
I mean, the Riddler in the 2022 movie is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, right from the opening scene.
Yeah. He's pretty terrifying. Yeah. So I mean, maybe Batman's a bad. Okay, Star Wars. If I did Revenge of the Sith, well, that's got a horror element at the end. But like these are the things. I love horror. I've been watching horror since I was 5-6 years old. But like I'm a comic book writer. Seth is a comic book writer. We love comic stuff, but we also love other movies. How often have we talked about doing like movies like we love the Rambo movies, at least the first one for sure. I love all of them. I like them all. But action movie. We love action movies. Seth's favorite movie, period, is The Howling 3 Marsupials. I got you, didn't I? His favorite movie of all time is Die Hard. It's not a horror movie, so yeah. So if you haven't gone to the Geek Syndicate, please follow us. Please consider following us. Got a lot of shit we want to talk about, a lot of stuff we're going to do. We're going to do a lot of the same things that we do over at the Horror Syndicate with the 5-star rating system is going to move over there. We're going to do movie matchups like, March Madness we're doing right now. There's a couple of them up over there trying to gain a following. Help us out. If you know people who like that stuff, send them our way, because there's other channels out there. There's one, Screen Geek, I think it's called. They've gone from doing all kinds of like geeky stuff to just showing, pictures like of women with hard nipples and shit, which is great. I love it. But like, that's not the point of that site. It's supposed to be about, news of the MCU or whatever it is. It's not supposed to be scantily clad women just to get views. Maybe that's what I need to do.
Hey, if it
I might be
works.
onto something actually.
If it works.
And sprinkling that content for the comic stuff as well. But anyway, that's my rant for the Geek Syndicate. There is a Geek Syndicate. It's just Geek Syndicate. We are the Geek Syndicate. So check it out on Facebook. The logo is not on here, so it says the Geek Syndicate in blue and has a record behind it, because we're also going to do music stuff. My buddy Ron, who writes for the Horror Syndicate, he loves music. He's going to do Music Monday stuff, This Day in Music, things like that. So we're gonna slowly roll that shit out, but it's gonna come out, and we're gonna have a whole umbrella: the Geek Syndicate, the Horror Syndicate, and the Razor Syndicate. I don't know. I don't have a syndicate. The Werewolf Syndicate. Yeah. So anyway, anything you got to say before we get off this bitch for the night? Oh, I just farted. Did you hear it?
I did not.
I legit bent over and it came right out.
That's great. Go wipe yourself. My last words of the night are, "You fucking hit me with the phone, dick."
Oh man, let it burn.
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. So the other day, by the way, I said something about having a crush on Kirby when Scream 4 came out. And I was like, oh God, because my daughter's like, she was a teenager. And I look, she was 20, thank God, when she filmed that movie. I was like, okay, she's of age. Oh, whew. Thought I was gonna have.
Well, you're on a list now.
I'm gonna be on I was not on the island. I was not there. Anyway, Seth, always good talking to you, my friend. Hang around for a minute after we get off of here. Everyone else, have a great night. Thanks for everything. Seriously, I love you. Horror got me through my wife's death and beyond. So it's definitely a pleasure being able to talk, write, and post a bunch of bullshit on the Horror Syndicate. So keep following us. Get us up to 100,000, and we got to get something on YouTube. Come on, right?
Right.
Bye, everyone.